Hey everyone, my name is Patrick, and today I get to bring you your daily dose of hope. I know I've shared this before, but sometimes I get so frustrated when I'm driving. In fact, I was just on my motorcycle not too long ago, and someone pulled out in front of me and then drove really slow. And I was just so frustrated because I thought that was so inconsiderate. I mean, if you're gonna cut out and drive slow, just wait for me to pass. And so I was so offended by their lack of consideration on a lot of levels. And it just instantly, I was just frustrated. And really, at the end of the day, I was just offended by their lack of consideration. And I think, man, in our society, it just seems like more and more we've become easily offended by others. And as I read this story in Luke, it just stood out to me how Jesus handled something that really was at the end of the day offensive. So I want to look at Luke chapter 9, starting verse 51. A really fascinating story here. It says this in verse 51. As the time approached for him to be taken to heaven, talking about Jesus resolutely set out for Jerusalem. So his face was set, as some translations say. He was headed to Jerusalem for his final journey to Jerusalem. And he sent messengers ahead who went into a Samaritan village to set things ready for him and to get things ready for him. Verse 53. But the people there did not welcome him because he was headed for Jerusalem. And so here, Jesus sends a couple people ahead, some of his disciples, to get things ready. And in the Samaritan village, they say, no, we don't want you there. You're not welcome here. Now, we could spend a lot of time unpacking why that is, but we know that there was ethnic differences and religious differences. And they basically said, no, we don't want you here, Jesus. We don't want your disciples here. We know you're going to Jerusalem. No, you're not welcome here. And it's interesting. Here's how two of the disciples responded in verse 54. When the disciples James and John saw this, they asked, Lord, do you want us to call fire down from heaven to destroy them? I mean, they were so offended. And if you may remember in Luke chapter 9, earlier in the chapter, Jesus gave the disciples power and authority to go out and heal the sick and cast out demons. And so they came back and they're ready to do some amazing stuff. And they go, God, we'll throw down fire from heaven. They were so easily offended over this. And how does Jesus respond? What does Jesus do? He doesn't rebuke those who offended him. He rebuked the disciples who responded inappropriately to the offense. And then this is what he said. He rebuked them, and then he went on to another village. Man, we can learn so much from Jesus' example in this situation. He wasn't offended, or maybe he was offended, but he handled it appropriately. He moved on. Why? Because his vision and his purpose was so resolute that an offense wasn't going to distract him. Maybe when we find ourselves a little easily offended, it's because we've lacked in the clarity of our vision and our purpose in life. Love God, love others, the great commandment and great commission. But how that plays out, I think God has given us a unique purpose and unique vision for each of our lives. And it's easy to become distracted and offended when that's not in the forefront of our minds. So if today you may find yourself easily offended, maybe it's because we need to focus more on our purpose that God has for us, to love him and to love others.